Today I'm going to show you how to add verification to your iOS app using our Swift SDK. It's super simple. In the Swift SDK we support two methods of number verification. The first one is regular SMS. So you enter your phone number and you receive an SMS to your phone, you enter the code and the number is verified. The other method is something we call callout. The callout makes a call to the handset, the SIM card, and when you pick up, you press 1 and boom, it's verified again. So why would you want to have number verification? Well, number verification is good for a couple of reasons. One, you can use it for two-factor authentication, so you can verify it over and over again. So maybe you have a bank or something and they send you a one-time code so you can do transactions. The other part is during a sign-up flow, and that's really what I'm going to show today, is when you want to reduce the number of double accounts, so you want to allow only one account per number. You can use number verification. It reduces fake accounts quite a lot. Another cool thing is when you have the phone number, you can use databases such as Full Contact and others to look up information about that particular phone number and get like username, Facebook profiles, and all kinds of scary cool stuff. So let's get to it. The Swift SDK is our first Swift SDK that we're releasing, and it's for verification. Later this year we will release for voice also. But let's start coding. So launch Xcode. So start by creating a new project, a single view application. In this case, let's call it Verify. It's a Swift. I'm not going to bother with unit tests or UI tests in this. I'm only going to do iPhones because an iPad you can't call to an iPad. I'm going to create it in my demo folder. And now I have a blank project. Nothing special, nothing scary. So before we start coding, let's add the Cinch verification SDK using CocoaPods. So let's close this project, close project, and launch a command line. Let's see, we have, go to the root folder of your project. You see I have an Xcode project there, excellent. Create a pod file. If you don't have CocoaPods, surf away to cocoapods.org and download it. It's by far the simplest way to add Cinch functionality to your product. So now we have a pod file, so let's edit that. Pod. So let's first get rid of this stuff. And I'm going to so since we're using Switch, we need to do the use frameworks. That flag adds the pods into the embedded framework section of your product. Make sure you have the latest CocoaPods installed, 0.39 when I record this, otherwise it won't work. And then let's add our little guy, Cinch Verification Swift. And let's save and then pod install to get it installed. Perfect. Let's head back to Xcode and open up our newly created workspace. Demos folder, verify, and now you see you have a workspace. That you open the workspace is super important when you have pods, if you didn't know that. Let's bring it over to the correct monitor. So now I have another project with pods, as you are probably aware of. Okay, so in this app, it's going to be a two-screen application. One where you enter your phone number and then you select verification method. And those verification methods can be either by SMS or by callout. So I prefer this. So open up your main storyboard as I did. Embed it in a navigation controller. Boom. Oh, that was not so nice. Set the title to enter your phone number. Okay, so what we need is we need a text box. Just gonna drag that guy over here. We need 2 buttons. Drag it out. That. Since I work for Cinch, I would like to have some Cinch branding on it. So let's make this guy purple. And change the text to callout. Perfect. Let's make a copy of this dude and change this to SMS. This was not so nice either. Let's drag it out here. Oops, sorry. Okay. So I don't really like the default text sizes, so I'm also just gonna change this to 35. I'm going to have a placeholder text. +1. This is my phone number, so if you want to talk with me, just give me a call, guys. It's okay. Oh, let's center that, guys. It looks a little bit nicer. Let's add a little bit bigger buttons as well. 30. 30. Update the frames. Oops. Reset to missing constraints. Let's delete the height. See what happens here. Oh yeah, that's how we like it. It's strange that it can be so difficult to do something simple as this. I mean, it's way better than it was before. Okay, so this is basically most of the UI we need. Let's add a little label so we can add a status message. Let's add some text size to this as well. Center it. Remove the text. So, what are we gonna do with all this? Well, in this guy, we're gonna enter a phone number. This one is gonna trigger a callout verification, an SMS verification, and the label I will display status text. So if we have any errors, oh yeah, that's right, make sure you set the lines to 0 so it does automatic word wrap. I love that with the storyboards. The last thing I want to add is an activity indicator, so we can have a nice little scroll, a nice little spinner when we're authenticating, and of course it needs to be large and it needs to have our wonderful purple. Great. Let's add the constraints, add missing constraints. No, I don't want it like that. I want it to be center of screen. Boom. And then the label, I want that one to stick with the button above. Nice. So let's do a little preview on this to make sure that it looks like we want. Pretty much. Oh, it thinks it's missing a constraint here. Okay. So do it vertically as well. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Okay, so this is all the UI we need for callout actually. But what we need to do is, of course, to add some outlets. So let me bring up the screen a little bit for you. And let's change this to be the automatic. And we have the view controller here. Wonderful. Okay, so we need an outlet to read the phone number. So let's add that phone number. Later on, I'm going to enable and disable the buttons. So let's do an outlet for that. And let's do an action while we're at it as well. Action, and let's call out. We want adding a couple of outlets for the rest of the UI so we can control the text. Status. Okay, wonderful. I think we're ready to write some code. Let's make it a little bit more nice. Let's change the keyboard type to phone pad. We don't want any correction. We don't want any spell checking. I think that's it. Oh yeah, we want this one to be hidden when we're not animating it. So that's it. Okay. So to do a verification, first we need to import the SMS verification. Good. And when you do a verification, you need to keep a reference of the verification object. So it's a two-step project for SMS and it's a one-step project for the callout. But for the SMS, you usually pass on the object to another view controller, and you just want to make sure that it lives throughout the life of the view controller. So let's add a view controller member, and let's call it verification, and it's a verification object. Let's add exclamation mark, and then I'm gonna need the application key. That application key you get in your dashboard. You just log into your SMS dashboard and you go to your verification. Make sure you set this to public, otherwise you need to sign it and you need the secret and all that stuff, and I don't have the energy for that. So I'm just gonna grab the key for this. Yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna change the key and secret once this recording is over. And add the key. Very good. So what's wrong with this? Nothing. It's still a little bit flaky, the Swift editor. Interesting. Why is that reserved? Oh yeah, let's change that. Let's try and build. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I have an application key. The way you do it is you create an instance of the verification with the key and the phone number, and then you can start initiating. So for the call out, I'm gonna smooth out the UI later, but let's just start by doing a call out. So let's set our verification object to a new call out verification. There we go. Application key, and then the phone number is phone number dot text, and it doesn't necessarily have a text. Perfect. Oh, look at that spelling. Boom. Nice. Finally. The next thing we do now, we've created one and say, yeah, be prepared. And now we do a verification dot initiate. Let's do a completion. Looks like this. Ooh. Error. Error. And it might be null. Okay. This is one of my first Swift projects. I'm still getting, it's way more beautiful than Objective-C, but it's still some strange syntax in it that I don't really like. Okay, so what's happening now? When we call the initiate, we ask the Sinch platform to make a call out to the phone. And then it will report back success or fail. So success is true or false. So let's check if success is true. If it is, we want to enter the text. Yeah, actually, let's do like this. Status text. I want to set. Oh yeah, we're in. So this is something you have to remember, that when you're in one of these completion handle, you need to reference self. So status text equals. Oh look, another double T. Oh yeah, this is interesting. So I'm gonna remove this, boom, and redo it. So if it is a success, set the text to verified, otherwise error dot description. That's really all there is to it. That's all I want to do in this case. Okay, let's run this. Make sure that my screen is on. So since we're always verifying a real phone number, you can't really do it in the simulator. So let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, it's installing. So clearly we need to do some stuff with the UI here to make sure that people don't do it too much. Sometimes it's very hard to remember your own number. So let's try this as a call out instead. Ah, look, here it comes. So I pick it up.
To verify, please press 1.
Okay.
If you didn't request this call, please.
And then it hangs up, and then it's verified. Boom, super sweet, right? Okay. But the UI was not so good, so let's take care of that. I'm gonna need that for the SMS call out, the SMS verification as well. So I'm gonna do a small function and I'm gonna call it disable UI. And I'm just gonna take a bool if I want to disable or enable it. That good. So first, one thing I wanna do is I wanna make the buttons look a little bit disabled, and when you just configure the state still in the storyboard, the background color is not part of the state, it's only the text. So let's just set the alpha of the buttons to something to make them look a little bit disabled. And to start with, they're gonna be 1.0, and then make an if to check, are we gonna disable it or not? Disable. I know you don't have to do the parentheses here, but I kind of like the looks of how it looks. A little warning, but that's the alpha equals 0.5. So if we're gonna disable it, we wanna make it like semi-transparent. And then we're gonna do phone number, resign first responder to hide the keyboard. We're gonna start spinning the spinner. While we're waiting for a result, we're gonna set the text of the status to blank, since if we had any errors, we wanna make sure that we clear all the errors, because we're gonna make a new try, right? And then one thing is, if I don't get a response from the Cinch platform for some reason, I want to make sure that we're enabling the UI anyway after a period of time, and I'm gonna set that to 30 seconds. Whoa. Dispatch. Time. It's dispatch time now. No. This is also one of the things, you know, I just want to delay a little bit. Why do I need to write this much code? It's crazy. Let's do a dispatch afterwards. Dispatch. So what's wrong with this? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry about that. Dispatch after, delay time. Dispatch get main. Oh, get main queue. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're doing this in the main queue, since we're doing UI stuff, right? Dispatch main queue. And then we're gonna do an anonymous function. UI equals false. Okay, so what's wrong with this? very picky sometimes. Okay, and then we have some bug there too, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit, not to waste your time. Wonderful. If we're not gonna disable it, let's add some additional cell phone number. Oh, cell phone number become first responders. I want to show the keyboard, and I want to stop the spinner. Spinner stop animating. And then cell phone number enabled equals not disable. And the same is callout. Set the alpha so we get the disabled look. Oh, I haven't added an outlet for that one. Don't that guy. Let's add that. SMS button. I don't need to add action now. SMS button. Alpha equals alpha. Nice, that's all we need. So before we start the verification, let's call disable UI true, and then whatever the status is, we're gonna enable the UI again. So don't disable it. Oh yeah, and then don't forget the cell. Good, let's see if that works. And let's do another call out. Oh, I had a little breakpoint dude there. Let's disable that. Perfect. Press 1. It's verified. Great. That's all we need. So that looks a lot better. Next step is to add the SMS. So let's stop this and go back to the storyboard and add a little action for sending an SMS. SMS action, perfect. So when you do SMS verification, you also need to enter a code. So we will need a new view controller. So let's find a view controller. Drag it out to the storyboard. Make a segue. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but make a segue. Name it enter pin, because we're gonna launch that later on once we initiated the verification request. The same goes for this one. You need a text field to enter the code in. Going to verify the code. Let's hide this for now. Let's drag him out here. Change the text, it looks a little bit nicer. Let's be crazy and have it purple also. Center the text. Do the same with the button. Make the text purple background. Perfect. Add the constraints. Is that really? Oh yeah. Boom. Okay. That looks nice. Let's add the tone for this. Boom. Oh. Data frames, let's have a placeholder for this also. Enter pin. Perfect. Should probably have a status label if the user enters the wrong code, so let's add that also. Let's not be lazy today. Okay, great. Need big text on that one as well. Let's reduce it. Add the constraints. I don't want to set the height, I just want to make sure it stays aligned. Great. Oh, so we don't have a view controller for this, so we need to add a new view controller. So let's add a new file. CocoaPods class, enter code view controller. Create anywhere, it doesn't really matter. Perfect. Counterparts. Great. So let's add the outlets for our nice UI here for this one as well. Enter pin. Verify button. Button. Let's add the action while we're at it also. Action. Verify. And last, yes, a reference to the status label. Should I do an activity indicator on this one? Yeah, I probably should. Let's add an indicator as well. Bam, in the middle of the screen. Large white, purple, and it hides when it's not animated. Nice. Let's remove text there. Okay, ready to code. So first, again, you need to import SMS Verification. We need a verification object on this one as well. Verification. Yeah, this is a little bit ugly, but I don't have the energy to make a global variable, so let's just copy these guys. Perfect. Okay, good. Now what we need to do is to pass the verification from the previous screen into this view controller so we can verify the code. I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed. Try and build it. Build failed. Why does it fail? Oh. Boom. The error message was not super clear. Okay. So we need to go back to the view controller. And in Objective-C you always get the helper method. Now prepare for seg. So I'm just gonna copy that from my little cheat sheet. So remember we created a seg called enter pin, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm just checking is that the seg what we're gonna do. In this case wouldn't really matter since we only have one, but then I get the destination view controller, and then I set the member verification to the current verification object so we can work with that later on. So let's start with an SMS verification. It looks very similar to the other part, so that's why I'm copying verification. But then verification initiate. Boom. Perfect. And now if it's successful, well, first of all we want to enable the UI again, so disable UI is false. And then we actually want to perform the seg on the navigation controller. So self perform navigation controller. Oh, Objective-C was sneaking in there. Did you spot that? Enter pin. And then, well, let's, it doesn't really matter, but let's do it like that. Yeah, we should probably check if it's successful before we go there. So if success, not success, I'll set the status text to the error description. Perfect. Like that? I do. So let's look at the enter code view controller. Then we have the verify. Oh, did we set? Let's go back and check here. What did we do here? Yes, we set the verification to the verification of the current view controller. Very good. So we do have the verification here. So when you enter verify, you want to take the verification and you want to call verify, and the code is of course the outlet that we don't have. Oh yeah, enter pin. Text, and then we do the same as before. Have a completion handler with an error, so that might be null. Let's check if we have a success. Status text verified. Great. Oh, we need to enable the UI. Self. Let's not worry about that now. So what's wrong with this? Perfect. This should work. What's wrong with this? Oh. Okay. There we go. Do you think it's gonna work? I'm not too sure, but let's try. I'm getting a little bit nervous now about the naming. Did I actually name this one? I did name it to enter pin. Good. So let's add my phone number again. 1-561-260-0684. Let's do an SMS. Perfect. Oh, nice label there. Oh, did you see? I had my code there. Perfect. 2245. Verify. Fantastic. Okay, so we have a couple of things. I didn't really see the spinner. Which was kind of strange. And I actually want the keyboard to show up directly when I launch the app. So let's do an override func. You will appear. Super view will appear, and then phone number, first responder. Perfect. And I want to do the same on the enter code view. Override func, you will appear. Let's add some stuff here now. Enter pin. So I'm not gonna bother with making a function for this. Let's go back and fix the last bits. UI button was not very descriptive, so add verify. There we have the little. I wonder where that stack view came from. Perfect. messed up the constraint on this guy, so update frames, perfect. Let's add the spinner. Start animating. Stop animating. We should probably enter pin enable equals false. Self pin enabled equals true. Great, we're ready to go. So let's just take a last little check here. Why did we not have any good? Alpha, it's 0.5. So it should look decent. Let's see what kind of color we have on the disabled look here. State config, disabled. Let's set it to gray. Nice. Let's run it again. And do a call out. Oh look, something happened. Of course something happened to my constraints. So clear constraints. I want to focus it there. And I want to update. Oh, update frames. So that little dude entered up in a stack view also. Why is that? Let's get rid of the stack view. Boom. Spinner. So maybe not super interesting this to see me debug a storyboard, but that's the life of a coder, right? Now we're gonna have a nice UI. Interesting. Why isn't it disabled? Call out with a higher sequence number was initiated. That's actually a very interesting error. I need to go back. Okay, I'm back. The little error I had was I was delaying it for 30 milliseconds, and we of course don't want that. Perfect. So let's try it again. Enter the phone number 561-260-0684. Nice. And we're enabled again. Great. Just a few more things to tidy it up. You might have, oops. Let's stop all processes. We need to add, so its minimum font size is 35, and the same goes for this guy, 35. Great. So as you can see, the actual code for the SMS verification is super quick. What you always mess around with is making the UI sweet. It's still not perfect, this one, but it's you know, it's pretty good. I hope you enjoyed this, and have a nice day.